Hi, I'm Peggy Farron, and you're watching the Understand Photography Show, where we talk about travel, nature, and fine art photography. My guest today is Gary Roach, and he's a nature photographer, but he's got a pretty unique story because he's doing pretty doggone well, and he's only been doing this for 2 years. So stay tuned, and you'll hear more about that. But first, remember the Understand Photography Show is a podcast first. If you would leave us a review on iTunes, that is so helpful to us, and we really, really appreciate it. The reviews, we promise we read them all. It makes us feel so good. It makes us feel like we're doing something worthwhile and we want to continue. And it helps, the reviews help us come up in the search engines. We also record this as a video, and we put it on Facebook and YouTube at 4 p.m. Eastern Time on Fridays. So check us out every single week. Also on YouTube, we have Tuesday photo tips. So we have a short video every Tuesday on YouTube. So it's youtube.com/understandphotography. One more thing, make sure that you sign up for our mailing list. And the way to do that is to sign up for one of our freebies. If you go to our website, which is understandphotography.com, right on the front page it says click here for freebies. We've got all kinds of different things. We've got something called how to get tack sharp images every time. Which camera do I buy? How do I get a solid photography education? I need a plan of action. We've got all that on there. We've got some videos, all kinds of things. Understandphotography.com. So today, my guest is a local photographer here to Naples, Florida. His name is Gary Roach, and he just picked up a camera 2 years ago, which is amazing, and he's doing very well. So we are going to talk about how to get started in photography and things to do and not to do. Welcome, Gary.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Now, you said I taught your son.
Yeah.
So your son was into photography.
Well, my wife,
before you?
my wife met you a while ago when my daughter was really young, and then my son chimed in. He's like, "Yeah, she taught me photography." So, small town.
Yes.
You been here a long time?
Oh yeah.
I've been here 25 now. So.
I got you beat, buddy.
Yeah, I bet.
1993.
93. Yeah, 93.
93?
Yeah.
Oh well, you're going on 26. Then.
26. Yeah, it'll be 26 in July then.
Oh, I still got you beat. I got here in June.
I got here in July. Okay, so it's a month. Got me beat. So are you a Floridian now?
Well,
at what
actually,
point
I've lived
did you become
in
a
Florida
Floridian?
most of my life.
Yeah.
I moved to Florida in 1978.
Okay.
So where are you from?
Cleveland, Ohio.
Okay.
So I graduated
Michigan.
college and moved down right out of college. So
Awesome.
yeah, I was girlfriend, engaged, kids. So right out of college, we've been together for that long. So
Oh.
yeah, a long time.
I like that's a nice story.
Yeah.
So now what happened? How did you, okay, what's your profession?
Right now, I'm a business owner. I own a computer repair store. So that's still my profession. The photography thing is kind of taken over though. It's kind of become its own thing, its own life per se. So I got started in photography when I was like 20. I knew it's what I wanted. I really wanted to pursue it. And in fact, I moved to Florida partly to pursue underwater photography. So I had all the equipment, all the underwater film equipment, the Nikonos, the strobes, and it was fun. It was great, but it's so time. It's cost expensive, time expensive. So
Especially underwater photography.
Absolutely.
It's extremely
and you
expensive.
can't do that over here in Naples. You really can't. I've
No.
done it. You just can't get any visibility. So then you have to go to Miami. You got to get on a boat. So there's a lot of time again and expense in that. So come in, kids start happening, job starts happening, and that kind of just faded away. So I'm making up for it now. So I'll be 50 this year. And a couple years ago, I bought a 200 to 500 millimeter lens. And I just had an average camera that anybody can go to
What'd
any
you have?
store. It's a Nikon D5300, which I still use.
Okay.
So very, consumer level camera. Takes good pictures.
Yeah.
Nothing
Well, the
wrong with
lens
that,
is-
but it's definitely not a pro camera. Not super easy to use. But it's again, it takes great pictures. But when I got the lens and I made it with the body and I started going out, I was getting all the pictures I always wanted to get. I mean, I was just amazed at instead of a bird looking this big on the tree, I was getting the bird and all the features and all in great detail. So I just got hooked.
And how much
Absolutely
was that
hooked.
lens? How much did that lens
It
cost?
was about $1,500.
Okay.
So it was
That's not
it's
bad.
a reasonable. In fact, you can get it now for about $1,200.
That's
It's
a
still a very
good
good
price.
value lens. Yes.
Now you said though you just picked up a camera 2 years ago, so you just bought that camera and the lens 2 years ago.
I had the
Or you
camera,
had the
but
camera?
I didn't pick up a camera 2 years ago. But when I bought that lens, I maybe took 500 pictures a year before that. I mean, just family stuff. So, but the bottom line is, I really knew nothing about photography.
Okay.
I would be in pre-program mode and just shoot and just hope they turned out. And in fact, the first 3 months of me shooting, I was just in pre-programmed mode. I didn't want to miss a shot. I didn't want to experiment with settings because I was seeing such great stuff. I didn't really want to mess it up on my own. So anyway, after about 3 months, I started experimenting, started going manual, and now I pretty much shoot all manual.
And you're mostly doing birds.
Yep, whatever's around. Now, people say, you must love birds, and I do, but that's what we have in Florida,
Yeah,
right?
we sure
So
do.
we have other wildlife, of course, too, but birds are the probably most exciting. Right now, it's an exciting time. A lot of things are having babies, a lot of things are nesting, so it's a good time to kind of be out. And they're fighting with each other. If you drive around, and you'll see other birds chasing each other right now because they're all nesting. Other birds attack the nest. So a lot of defense going on right now. But
So that lens.
changed my life. It really did. Absolutely. Yeah. Going back to that, it changed my life.
What made you buy that lens?
I don't know. It was just I think something deep inside me just said, just go for it, because I had always put it on the back burner for like over 20 years.
And how old are your kids now?
My daughter's going, so that's the other thing. My daughter is 18. She just turned 18 and she's going off to college. So she's my second one. She's my youngest. So she goes off to Florida State in 2 months. And my son is graduating from FGCU in like another year.
So your kids are older.
They're
so you
leaving
have a
the
little
nest.
more time for yourself
Yeah,
now.
exactly. A little more time. So, I shoot a lot. So like when I say I've only been shooting for 2 years, I've probably been shooting as much as someone has for like 5-6 years. I shoot probably
when do you
over
get up?
300 days a year.
So you get up early in the morning?
Yes. I'm up anyway at 4 or 5, so I just get on location at sunrise. Just depends on what's happening where, and I shoot before work. I'll shoot after work. Just hooked. Just absolutely hooked. It's been absolutely
Wow.
fantastic.
So how did you learn, since you didn't take classes with me?
Mistakes.
The established training center here in Naples, Florida.
Exactly. I should have. I could have saved a lot of time.
You could have.
Absolutely. I know. And I'm one of those, I got to learn it myself. And so I'd pick up tips, and I'd let the tips kind of sink in and start incorporating them. But then YouTube's great, right? So YouTube, you can go on there, and you can look up anything. If you want to know anything about a certain camera, any certain settings, you've got guys showing you how to do it. Pause the video, play with it yourself, go back to the video. So
you learned to shoot in manual that way?
it took a while for me to do manual.
I was going to say, because I teach how to shoot in manual. It takes about 2 hours. But most people will say, I have been trying to learn to shoot in manual for years, and I could never get it because they're trying to piecemeal it like that. So that you've taught yourself like that, that's pretty impressive.
You learn from your mistakes, right?
Yeah.
So when you look at your pictures, I tell my clients this too. So I take people out and I do photo workshops as well. So we go out and we'll talk about, they want to find certain birds that are from up north, and I'll help them do that. But anyway, we go through also settings. So I always say, look at your feedback from your picture, right? So why is it blurry? Was it you? Was it the motion? Were you moving too fast? Or what were your settings, obviously. So if your shutter speed wasn't fast enough, if your ISO was too high, then, okay, so what do I got to do next time? So that kind of leads you more be able to get into manual mode, right? So you got to learn from your mistakes. So don't look at them as mistakes, just look as like chance to improve, right?
Yeah,
So that's kind of how I try to look at it.
Okay.
I get mad sometimes, but generally I make less and less mistakes when I look at the settings when I see something wrong with the picture, Used to be mostly me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I know. Well, we lead photo workshops and we teach classes, and we have day trip. We have a lot of stuff going on, and so we've taught, I don't even know, I'm going to say hundreds, but maybe even more than 1,000 people at this point. And boy, sometimes people have a learning block in their heads.
Yeah.
And that's sometimes the hardest thing to overcome. It's like, oh, I can't do it. I can't do it. Well, you got to somehow. I'm
Yeah.
starting to learn. There's a lot of psychology in there too.
There
because
is, and I was like that too. Once you got to kind of get in a rut or a groove, you just follow it. Because I was shooting aperture for quite a long time, and everyone's like, you should go manual. You should do manual. I was like, I don't know. I didn't want to. Finally did it, and so it's
a
there's
decision. You made that decision. You said, I'm going to
yeah.
overcome
I'm like,
it.
I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it takes a lot sometimes to just say, okay, I'm gonna do that. But then once you do that, you know, kind of opens things up. So you're right. There's blocks there psychologically.
Mine has nothing to do with photography, but I have always been a night person my whole life. And then 6 months ago, or 8 months ago now, I guess, it was right 6 months before my 60th birthday, and I thought, I've got to start exercising, right? And I had this girlfriend who's been asking me for years to walk in the morning. I'm like, I can't get up that early. But I made I got through that block and made the decision,
Yeah.
and I've been doing it for 8 months now, getting up at 5:45 a.m. and walking
Great.
every morning, which
Great.
that
It
was
becomes a
that was
routine,
my
right?
block,
Yeah.
that I could never be a morning person. But you can, whatever you put your mind to, you can do it. You can do it.
Absolutely.
So now, within 6 months, you were published in in Gulf Shore Life.
Yep.
Now, let me just tell the audience, Gulf Shore Life is a very high-end magazine. It's local, but it's local. It's a chain of, I mean, it's based in Palm Beach.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, right? Is that Gulf Shore Life,
I
or
think
is that
so.
Naples Illustrated?
Actually, I think Naples Illustrated is located in West Palm. I could be wrong.
I could be wrong, too, but they're both very high-end
Both high end, yes.
magazines, very prestigious. They're not some little...
I mean, you see them everywhere around here, and it's
not
just a known
it's not
commodity.
like Must Do Naples, which is like a, what do you call those kind of magazines? A tourist magazine. It's not a magazine. It's a really nice, kind of like a town and country, but local,
Yeah,
right?
they do a great job.
So
They
how did you got published in there when you were only doing this for 6 months?
Yes.
How did that come about?
So I started off with this great lens, I still use this lens a lot, and my average kind of camera, but I was going out a lot, and I just kept getting enthused with my pictures I was taking, and I do things probably a lot of photographers aren't going to do. Like was going to Tiger Tail a lot, right? Tiger Tail Beach, and it's all an estuary, it's all water, but I'll sit in the water. A lot of photographers, they'll sit in their little tripod and they'll sit on the beach and they might take pictures, but like I get into it. Like, so I'm sitting in water and getting really close to the birds, and like I was just getting phenomenal shots.
Now, do you put your tripod in the water?
No, I started doing that recently, but
So
before
hold that
I was
heavy
hand
camera
holding.
up
Yes.
while you're sitting in the water?
Yes. But yeah, your arms can get tired, so you got to kind of budget your arm strength and holding that guy up. So.
Well, what do you do with it when you're not holding it up if
it's
you're
just-
in the water?
Yep. Well, I'm not in deep water either. Usually, I'm just kind of. It's like
You're just standing?
6,
You're
8
standing,
inches
though.
deep. No, I'm sitting.
You're sitting.
And so I just keep it above. Whatever I got to do to keep it above.
Okay.
Usually it's on my knee, or I'll just be a
But
little
now
bit
you-
in the water. But anyway, I get muddy, I get dirty. I try to keep my camera's got a little bit of a cover on it, so I just do my best to kind of keep it. I never had any accidents. I just jinxed myself, but I haven't dunked it yet. So.
Oh, let's cross your fingers. I have no wood near me to knock
So let's
on.
go back. Yeah, so I just started getting some great pictures in the estuary there. The roseate spoonbills, those are one of those pink birds we have down here. People kind of sometimes mistake them as flamingos, but they're gorgeous, right? So I would just be in the water, and sometimes I just sit there for an hour. And if I don't get a picture, the worst case is I'm just enjoying a beautiful, absolutely gorgeous scene. So that's how I look at it. It's like if I get a picture, it's like gravy on top. So if I don't get a picture, oh well, you keep going, and that's how things go, right? You just keep shooting. But I was just getting some phenomenal shots of ospreys diving in the water. I was getting roseate spoonbills, all kinds of great fast action, great blue herons, tricolored herons, and little blue herons. So they're diving in, they're heading for fish, and Florida affords us such great light. I'm able to get that shutter speed up real high, where 3200ths of a second, and I'm just getting the fish just hitting the water, and the water splashing, and he'll pull a fish out, and it makes for a great image, and you're like, whoa, it really draws you in. It's not just a bird sitting on
Right.
a branch, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No, they're
I
pretty
love I love pretty birds just sitting there, but when you get the action, especially interaction with birds with other birds, it just tells much more of a story. And it's like, whoa, they're especially like two different species fighting or something like that. So going back, I just we started getting some really great images, and I'm like, what if I just submit it and see what happens? And that was another block a lot of people probably have.
They don't think they're good enough.
Well, what if I'm not good enough? What if I am good enough? What if they do publish it? What does that mean?
Yeah.
So I said to
There's
myself,
a lot of fear.
let that all work itself out. Who cares?
So
that doesn't matter.
So how did you find out who to submit to? What did you do? Give me
good
some
question.
step by step.
So I just looked in the magazine and I looked at the editor and I said, hi, this is who I am.
Did you email?
Yeah, I did. I emailed.
The editor.
Yeah, the editor. I'm sorry. And I said, if I do not have the right person, please, direct me to who to speak to. And I think I got them right when I did contact. So they said, they said, no, this person. So I would just send them, this is me. I do photography. Here's my collection.
So did you send them a link to your website? Or
I think
did
I
you
shared,
send them actual
I sent them a
pictures?
shared folder from like Google Drive. I use Google Drive. So I sent them a shared folder. So, which is nice because then you can go in there and update that folder, and then it updates there. I'll email them back and say, hey, I updated my Google folder. Take a look and see if there's anything new or exciting it might get you.
Oh, that's really
so
brilliant.
they have a constant way of looking at new stuff. I have an easy way to share it with them, and it just automatically updates. I don't have to resend them another link. They still have the link, and if I obviously resend to them.
What you also have that it's something that people struggle with is you have a reason to talk to them again.
Yeah.
Because you updated your portfolio or whatever.
Yeah, it keeps their little ear buzzing.
Yeah, because people forget about you. They don't mean to. They think they're going to remember. I do all the time, and as I get older, I really forget about everybody.
Right.
But they don't mean to. They're just busy with their lives, and it's like, oh, I need a picture of a bird. Who can we use? And they forgot, even though they liked you.
Well, they get new editors too. So Gulf Shore Life got a new editor. So when I found out about that, I contacted her and I just kept in her ear. So
So you
she's
just
been
said,
great too.
hey, welcome to your new job or something, or?
Yeah, I just wanted to let you know I'm still here and I'm still available. And I basically said, can I send you, some of my new stuff? And she's like, sure. So yeah, we're good.
And so what was the first thing you got published?
I think I submitted in June and I got published a few months. Let's see. They chose, it took a couple months, and I was surprised it only took a couple months, but I was published in October 2017, I think it was. Yeah, it was, I actually sent it to you as one of my pictures for your website and for promotion. It's a group of great herons. So they're the white, just plain looking herons. Great white herons, they used to be called.
Great egret?
I'm sorry, great egrets.
Yeah.
They're tall white, and there was a group of like 6 of them, and they were all amassed, and they just had this perfect formation. And I was sitting in the water, I just couldn't. Sometimes you're behind the camera, and you're like, I can't believe this is happening right now, right? So I just kept snapping, and they were just posing, and they were doing natural behavior, which is another great thing. They weren't just staring at me like, So that was the first one.
That's awesome.
And then after that, it just kept going.
Let's slow down. So what about, so they published that how? Like, here's a picture? I mean, what was the context that they put that in there?
Okay, so I'm just trying to remember. They call it Gulf Shore Treasures, and they feature it's 2 pages, but it's a full spread sheet picture, and they do 2 photographers or 2 pictures a month. So I got published in that.
They feature 2 photographers every month in Gulf Shore Life?
Yes, Gulf Shore Treasures is, they don't have a feature, they just have a picture. They do talk about who the photographer was.
But they have 2 full page?
Yes,
So
Gulf
you
Shore
got
Treasures.
a full page in Gulf Shore Life?
Yeah, 2 pages, full 2-page spread.
Wow.
Yeah.
Of 1 picture.
1 picture.
So it had the seam in the middle?
Yeah, it had a
That's
seam in the
bummer.
middle. I know. So when I'm submitting pictures, I got to think about like that seam's going to be there. Are they going to like that or not? So I ended up just
and
submitting
so it just
everything.
said photo by Gary Roach?
Yep. Little comment about it. They asked me to do a little comment, and that shows up there. And then, little direction to the website as well. So it's really
Wow,
nice.
that's...
And you get paid for it.
Oh, and they give you money.
They give you money. So
Can
you
I
get
ask
paid
you how
for
much
it.
is that too nosy?
No, you could probably ask them. It's $200.
Wow.
So it's not bad.
So you sold a picture to a magazine after just picking up the camera 6 months later.
I still get excited, but like
I would get excited
first
too.
time you're like, is this me? Is this they want my picture? And after a while, like, oh, I want my picture again. No, that never happens. But it's always new and it's always fun because when someone really appreciates your work, and I get great feedback from it, it just kind of keeps me going. You know,
That's why I always beg for reviews because it's like we kind of need the reviews because this show, you know, every once in a while I'm like, why am I doing this? Because
you love it. It's your passion.
It costs me money to put the show on. It
Yeah.
doesn't make me money, you know. So it's like, I don't know, is this worth it to keep doing it? You know, yeah, we get some business out of it for sure, but do we get that much business? Is it worth it? It's so much work. It's so much work. You wouldn't believe how much work it is. It's a lot of work. But then you read the feedback and it's like, oh, somebody sent me an email this week and I meant to send it to you guys, I forgot. He said, how do I donate to your show? And I went, oh, I don't know. I got to ask Heather.
JoeFitzpatrick.com.
JoeFitzpatrick.com, yeah. Anyway.
Let me guess, that's Joe?
Yeah. Anyway, I said, oh, that's so sweet. And he said, well, your show is, you know, most of the time it's just people just kind of shooting the bow. And he said, you're actually teaching in your show, and that's what I like. And I thought that made me feel good.
Yeah,
you know?
good feedback, right?
So I need that. I need that weekly.
spinning
I
your
need
wheel.
something at least weekly, people. Keep me going. Okay, so Gulf Shore Life has now published you how many times?
I don't want to misspeak, but I think it's 7.
And you had a feature in there.
Naples Illustrated featured me in September last year. So
how did you get Naples Illustrated's attention?
They, I did submit to them, and they had
and kind of the same thing with the
correct.
email, and you just said editor.
Yeah, correct. And then they reached out to me and they said, well, we're going to publish in September, and this was like quite a while before, like 6-7 months before. And they said, would you be interested? I said, absolutely. So they did, I think, a 4-page of all, well, not all, but, you know, a variety of my pictures. And they talked about me, and we did it was a little bit more of an editorial about me.
They did an interview and everything
Yes.
with you. That's so exciting.
So, yeah, that was September last year. So, and those are the only 2 magazines I think I've submitted to. So there's obviously opportunity. And so anybody out there that's thinking about submitting, just contact the editor. And if it's not the right person, they're going to direct you to the right person. It's not a big deal, you know. So, and don't be afraid of the consequences. If it's good, it's good. If it's not so good, just keep shooting.
They're not even going to tell you anyway.
No, I'm not going to tell you.
They're just going to ignore you.
Yeah,
Right?
so just put yourself
and
out
that's
there.
really the worst that can happen is they're going to ignore you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's nothing.
I wasn't expecting, like, in 2 months, they contacted me for the first time. So I was more than thrilled, you know.
Yeah, because
so,
most of the time they don't even respond. So to get the attention is really exciting.
yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What else have you done to get attention?
Right now, I submit to Instagram daily, pretty much. I'm on Facebook. I got a pretty good following on Facebook with Gary Roach Photography. So
Now you said you post daily on Instagram?
yeah,
Now
I
do
post
you
1 picture a day, pretty much.
post 1 picture a day, or do you schedule it, or?
I don't schedule it, but generally 1 a day on average.
So you just kind of first thing in the
Yeah.
morning after you do your bird shoot in the morning?
It's funny when you start getting into it in social media, you kind of manage it. So you see when most people you're trying to get some followers, you're just trying to get some attention. I'm trying to get it for some sales, of course, and then the photo workshops. So you'll see when people follow you, it tends to be, starts getting a little high around noon. So about 12 p.m. it starts kicking up. So you kind of want to gauge where the people are giving you the most
Right.
attention is. So generally, I'll do 2 or 3 pictures. I'll edit them. I'll export right into Google Drive, and I got one called Instagram. So Instagram's format's a square.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes your picture doesn't look the best in a square. A lot of pictures don't. They look best either, you know, kind of formatted the way they should be. But anyway, so then I'll send them to my Instagram folder on Google Drive, and then I'll just go to Instagram and then upload them.
Okay.
Upload them, download them to my phone, then upload them to Instagram. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So then I got
So you do that at lunchtime every day?
pretty much. Yeah. Sometimes in the afternoon.
Okay. Okay.
So I am going to be starting a YouTube channel. That's another thing I've been doing, because people love pictures, but video is so compelling. Obviously, that's why you kind of do it, right? So it's much more dynamic. I want to get behind the scenes of taking the pictures I'm taking. You get to know the animals better. So yeah, once in a while on Instagram I post some. I had a barred owl shot it was video the other day, and it was calling to its mate, right? So it's this crazy call, and like if you've never heard it, you're like, what the heck? It sounds like an alien, right? So, but it's just much more compelling, I think, when people see video.
Now, do you take the video with your DSLR?
I've been messing around, so I got a little Sony Action Cam, right? So that thing has a housing. I could actually go like 100 feet underwater if I wanted to. So I wanted to get something where in the field where I'm going these crazy spots that it would kind of tolerate it. But then I'm learning that covers up the microphone. So you really kind of have it out of the case to get the microphone to sound well. And so there's other things. But I have been shooting mostly with my DSLR, yeah.
Okay.
And you don't need to have the highest quality. Mine will do 4K, but I usually just do 1080.
Not if you're going to put it on Instagram or even on YouTube.
Right. No, it's just a little
We don't
teeny
record
video.
this. We don't record this show high definition. This is 1080p or something.
Yeah, 1080.
Yeah.
That's plenty, right?
Yeah. I mean, it has to be fast. You know, you don't want people to,
Right.
you know, be stuck.
You don't want to see me in 4K, right? The animals maybe, me no. So yeah, you don't have to. It doesn't have to be super high quality. So yeah, but I'm experimenting. So this is another thing I'm trying to venture into is video. And I actually have a friend who I just got off the phone with, and before I came in here actually. So we're gonna get together, and he does video production, and he's local, and so we're gonna try to marry our talents together.
Oh my gosh. Now, how would you do that, though? Or you don't know yet?
Well,
it's too early to tell. Because you're into photography, he's into video. So would you be teaching?
Well, I can obtain
both video.
Like I know how to get video, right? But it would be nice to have a second person there to get video of me while I'm shooting. That.
But
kind
what's
of
in
thing.
it for him?
Right now, he's just a friend and he wants to help me out.
Wow.
So
that's awesome.
yeah.
You better be good to that friend.
He is. He's really good. We're good to each other. Yeah, absolutely.
What about now? You said you get attention from Instagram and
Correct.
from Facebook.
Correct.
From just posting.
Yep.
Do you put lessons in your posts, or what do you put in the posts?
No, that's the other thing. That's where the YouTube channel is going to come in, where I can give lessons. So I want to do a little bit of technical side, where I'm teaching as I'm doing with certain situations and how I'm going to tackle low light in a flight situation. Can I get a flight shot here or whatever, or what do I got to do to at least try to get a shot? On the other side is there's other guys and they get such attention and they're just passionate. So you got to kind of let your passion show. So I want that to kind of come out of me, and then the other side is going to be the technical. So kind of marriage that we were just talking about this right before I came in. So how am I going to present myself? You know, you got to be natural, of course, but you got to kind of obviously gain people's attention. So. But a lot of people become famous on the YouTube.
Look at that,
they
Peter.
Really do.
What is his name? Peter McKinnon. And I had Serge Ramelli on the show here. Do you know him?
I know the name, but I don't.
He got famous from the internet. That's how
Just
he
YouTube. Right?
Yep.
Not just it's
YouTube, but that's how he made it big. Was YouTube. I mean, he does everything now, but he makes a lot of money selling online classes. What did he tell us? $1.5 million he did the year before or something. I forget.
what?
Something crazy.
Well, he immigrated from France, which, as you know, it's not easy to come to the United States unless you have a lot of money.
Right.
And he moved to Los Angeles, which is extremely expensive, and bought a house, which is crazy expensive. And he's got, what, 5 or 6 or 7 kids? I forget now, but yeah, I mean,
I'll have to look.
you have to believe that
I'll have
he's
to look
making
him up.
money.
Yeah.
And he made it all YouTube, all YouTube.
He does instructional
Yeah,
videos.
he sells. If you get on his mailing list, it is a little annoying because he sends you something about 3 times a day, so you don't stay on his mailing list long. But I mean, obviously, it must work because he's doing so well. So he's a really good teacher too. That, of course, makes a huge difference. You know, there are a lot of people that. What was I trying to look up? How to change the ISO on a. I forgot what it was. It was some kind of bridge camera. Because I have an online class called the 4 Weeks to Proficiency in Photography, but it includes support. So this lady said, I cannot find my ISO. or how to change my ISO on this camera, which is, I forgot what kind of camera it was, but it was
Nikon point and shoot P.
was some kind of
P900, P1000.
some kind of bridge camera anyway. It wasn't a DSLR. And boy, I'll tell you what, took a lot of videos I watched. I looked, of course, I went to the manual. Well, that was useless.
Right.
And then I read some articles, and then I looked on the internet, and I finally just saw somebody hitting it. They were hitting something else, and I saw it said ISO sensitivity. I was like,
there it is.
I know where it is, because I don't have that camera.
It's amazing because you
and she
almost
lives in Wisconsin
Google
or
anything,
something,
yeah,
you know?
Right.
But it was just so poorly done. All
Yeah.
the videos are so poorly done. I mean,
Right.
people need good instruction.
Absolutely.
Not, you know, and then click, click, click so fast you can't see what they're doing, that kind of stuff. So, what was I going to say? So you get people who take your workshops from Instagram? That's how you get your workshop people?
Yeah, I got quite a few from it. Like I think all of them from Instagram.
Wow.
Now, I got a few as well from, I was doing, I didn't do art shows this last year, but I did art shows last year down in Naples off of Fifth Avenue down there. And I got accepted. The thing with nature and wildlife photography is there's a lot of them, right? So I got accepted to the big Fifth Avenue shows down there this year, but I'm on a waiting list.
Okay.
So you don't know where you're going to get it. So I did
Yeah.
the smaller shows last year, but this year I chose...
So you did art in the park?
Yes.
So I must have judged your stuff. I've been a judge there for a
is that
long
right?
time. Yeah.
Okay. I was in there like...
See, I let you in. It's all because of me.
It's all because of you. I owe it to you. What do I sign? I got to give you some coffers here.
It is funny though, because there was a time where when I first started judging there, I always knew whose pictures they were, because I know a lot of photographers in this
Yeah.
town, but not as many lately.
No, new ones?
No. Well, I didn't know you.
You didn't know me.
I didn't know yours, obviously. Oh, you will. So, but Art Park is I always tell people who want to sell their work that the fastest way to sell your work is to do the art shows. And if you're not making money in the art shows, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
You really are.
I did really well on my first show down there, better than I thought. And my other two were kind of so. But I'm gonna do them next year. I have the tent and I have all the stuff to do it. So I invested in that. So but this year I wanted to concentrate on just shooting and not doing that so much. But that goes back to promoting my photo workshops too. So not only am I going to sell the pictures, I want to be able to promote.
So you met
photo
people from
workshops.
from having
Yes.
We had another guy on the show. I can't remember who it was now. He's a young guy, but he got all of his customers from the art show for
Is that
his
right?
workshops.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it is a good idea. I
It's
thought
a great
it
idea.
can't hurt.
No, it's a
Because
great idea.
everybody comes up to you like, I got a camera and I do this, and there's a lot
they
of
like your work,
photographers.
and then they get to meet you.
Yeah.
And why does somebody take a workshop with me rather than you?
Right.
Because they know me already.
Right,
They've
you.
seen me on my show, or they've taken a class with me, or I've photographed their kid at the Nutcracker like I did with yours.
Exactly, on YouTube.
Somehow,
so they see you, social media, video.
somehow they feel
right?
comfortable with you.
Yeah.
Because it's scary just to, so we do photo trips to Cuba. Well, so do another 1,000 other photographers do photo tours to Cuba. So what's different about ours? Maybe there are some differences. Of course, we like to think that we're doing a better job, but
If
the
people
main
don't
reason
know about you, though, they don't know how great you are. So
it's not even just knowing about us, but feeling comfortable
Yeah.
that we would be nice people
Personality.
to go with. So at the art show, they see your work. It's beautiful work. They meet you.
They
You're a
talk to you.
friendly guy.
Yeah.
You don't seem too scary. Maybe a little. Just kidding.
Try to scare 'em.
But that's
No, that's big. You're right.
that's big.
Yeah.
That's big. Now do you know Jack Magella?
No.
He was on the show about doing art shows, and it was a really good show because he's been doing that art show circuit
check
for
it
a
out.
long time. In fact, his wife was the one who used to hire me to do event photography of the art shows. When I
Okay.
first started doing event photography back in 2009, she was the coordinator of the shows at the Naples Art Association. Now I think she's just working with him, helping him promote his work, because he's
Okay.
a really good photographer. But he had a lot of good stuff about doing that. You know what else I just thought about? One of the things Artie Morris brought up in the very first show, my very first show here, how many episodes? 130 something episodes ago. He talked about submitting to magazines, and he was getting rejected. Of course, he was submitting to national magazines, but
Big
also this was back, he's been around for a long time. But he started writing stories to go with them. I mean, the stories were about photography, because he's a bird. Do you know who he is? Bird?
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
He's a bird photographer, so he would write, the story of the flock of great egrets
Right.
or whatever,
Right.
just and maybe talk about their behaviors or whatever, or how he got the shot. He would write a story to go with the pictures. And he said the acceptance rate went like skyrocketed.
Okay.
Because adding a story, that makes their job easier.
Right.
And that's what they want. Everybody wants somebody to make their job easier, right?
Right. In fact, when I submit my pictures,
I forgot all about that till just now.
they want a little bit of, little bit about the shot. So like if you already present that, it makes, like you said,
write a whole
it
story.
cans it makes it easy for them, and they've got a story and the shot. It's a good idea.
Yeah, so
I'm
there
stealing
you
it.
go. Yeah, well, all you got to
Thanks,
do is
Art.
watch the Understand Photography show every Friday at 4, and you would already know that.
So I got to tell you this. So one of my friends, I've met so many great photographers, and one of my friends, I just told him I was going to be on your show yesterday. And he goes, I watch that show every Friday. I've seen every episode.
Aww.
So I'm not just saying that, it's true. And I said, well, I'm going to be on it. And he's like, you're kidding. So anyway, hi,
Such
Andrew.
a big shot now.
So no, but no, he knew he watches
He
all your
watches
shows. He
every-
watches
Oh,
all the
yay.
photographers, and he watches you. So yeah, it's great.
Well, we try to have teaching. All right, so let's keep teaching, because
Yeah.
you're really good at this. Because we're talking, I know that we thought we were going to talk about bird photography, but I think
I had a
a
coffee,
lot
so
of
I'm talking a
people,
lot. Yeah, so
a lot of
That's
people
good.
are interested in the business side. I mean, it's funny because, and I may have said this in a recent show, which I hate to repeat myself, but at our convention, we have a statewide camera club. What is it, an umbrella group? Is that what you would call it? So it's called the Florida Camera Club Council. So it's like the state group, and then all the little
Okay.
groups, all the local groups belong to that. And so there's a state convention every year. So the keynote speaker this year was Lisa Langell. And if you don't know who she is, you got to look her up. She's amazing. Anyway, one of the things she said was, why does everybody say to us as photographers, oh, you making any money? You selling anything? She's like, if you went out and bought a boat, an expensive boat for a hobby, people aren't going, well, you're going to give tours? How are you going to make money with that boat?
Yeah.
But people do that to us
All the
as
time.
photographers all the time.
Drives
And
me
I
crazy.
think we kind of feel a little pressure because of it.
Yeah.
Like, you're not a professional photographer, or you're not a good photographer unless you're selling your work or you've been
Right.
published or something, which is a shame too, because it's watered down what being published means, I think, at this point too.
Yeah.
Because now, and it's difficult to make a living because people will do everything for free now.
that's right.
And, for me, who is old school, it's hard for me to, there's a local magazine, very popular local magazine. My mother, every time I go over there, she says, this is my favorite magazine. But they don't pay their photographers. All they do is give them photo credit. They don't even give them an ad.
Okay.
And that just I can't believe that,
Right.
but that's what it's come. They have no trouble getting photographers because everybody
Right.
will work
Everybody
for free.
wants to work for free.
Because they're going to be published.
Right.
So it's kind of hurt that part of the business and then of course they get everything for free. It's like, what about us? We need to make money.
Right. I'm trying to keep photography as its own end game, right? So it's its own reward. So I enjoy it that much where it's like you don't have to add making money to it. It would be nice, and I'm not saying that's not a thing, but are you making money? Do you sell any of these? I got clients coming all the time to my it's now a little bit of a gallery, come in and say, are you selling these, or how are you doing with that? It's like I'm not professional, or I'm not good unless I sell them.
Yeah.
So that's an idea, right?
Right.
So, but I don't look at myself like if I don't sell them that I'm not good or not. I don't know. I enjoy
for
it.
you.
We'll let everybody else talk about what they think, if I'm good or bad or professional, whatever. That's not. Everybody's gonna have their own opinion.
Yeah,
So I don't
yeah.
let other people's thing try to get inside of what I'm doing.
Good for you.
Otherwise, I probably would quit. You get all caught up in this side. No, I'm just shooting. I just love doing it. It's its own reward. So if I had give anybody some advice, it would be that just find what your passion is and just keep going at it.
Yeah.
It's its own find what gives itself back to you without any on the outside. So
it's funny because photography is my business, but it's also my hobby. But they're not even related. What I do for work, I do event photography and headshots and portraits, and I mean, I'm highly trained in that side. But for my hobby and for my art, you know, for my creative outlet,
Just
I'm out
enjoy
in
it.
the Everglades doing landscape photography. You know, that's what I like to do, or travel photography, that kind of stuff. So it's
Totally
a
different.
really nice outlet. But it does make you feel vindicated if somebody hands you a little bit of money.
sure, feels good.
It feels
Not gonna
good.
lie.
Or if they publish you and say, look at this guy, he's good enough to be in Gulf Shore Life and Naples Illustrated, whatever, you know, that's a real honor.
It's funny
So I
because I've never been asked. Well, I've been asked to do weddings and other things, and I would rather shoot a non-human at any point.
You can shoot those bufo toads.
Exactly.
Those
right?
are, it's legal
Shoot
to kill those, you know.
Just saw those. Another thing is that we were just in Costa Rica 2 weeks ago, and those were all over the place down there.
Really?
I don't know if that's exactly where they came from, but
I don't know where
they're
they came from,
down
but
there.
they're invasive here, I know, and
Yeah.
you can shoot them for, it's totally legal because
So-
there's such a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved weddings when I did them, but I think I'm getting a little too tired. You know, it's very physical job to do weddings. So, but it was fun for
A lot
me.
of pressure,
It was a
it
lot of
seems.
fun for me. I didn't mind the pressure because I didn't know any different. I started off as a wedding photographer, but I think it's all about managing people and managing expectations.
Yes.
But you carry a lot of heavy gear around. You know, you're hanging 2 cameras off of you for 8 to 10 hours. That gets wearing on somebody
bet.
my age, you know. That's a young person's game. So instead, I'm going to carry around my big old lens that weighs a ton, you know, and be out in the
It's
in the
really tough
Everglades.
to. I know a couple people that make a living at wildlife photography, but there aren't very many.
Yeah,
So
they have
it's-
to be doing workshops.
They got to be doing, just be super engaged. I know a couple
Workshops or selling them as art. Now, that
Yeah.
one part of photography that is actually gaining acceptance, it's still very competitive, but is selling your artwork. That's gaining acceptance, and some of the artwork is going for millions of dollars. I mean, millions of dollars.
Where are they at? I want one of those buyers.
Peter Lick is, do you know who
Yeah.
Peter Lick is? He's one. He makes, you know, if you go to his gallery, his pictures are thousands and thousands of dollars. I mean, he's making a lot of money as a, well, he's more of a general nature photographer, I would say. He has some wildlife, but he has, I guess, probably has more landscapes. But Cindy Sherman is another one. I mean, to me, her stuff is weird. She's mostly doing self-portraits of her. I guess there's a whole, like, women's right theme to them, but I never knew that. I just saw the pictures and I was like, okay, well, it's a picture of you
Yeah.
laying down, and she got $3 million for it.
Wow,
So
unreal.
yeah, so it is something. And again, in 2009, I started doing event photography. My first job was at the Naples Art Association. There was no photography unless it was Clyde Butcher's. And now it's mostly photography there.
Is that right?
Yeah, yeah. The Naples Art Association, well, wherever you live, getting involved in the Art Association, that's their job, is to help you succeed as an artist.
Yes.
And so,
I'm part of it. I just joined them like last year.
yeah, well, if you were doing art in the park,
Yeah.
that's a
obviously-
great, what a
obviously.
great opportunity art in the park is. How much did that cost? $100 a month? I mean,
Yeah.
it's really cheap.
In fact, so the workshop I did pick up, I had 2 pictures submitted at the Rookery Bay exhibit. And to even get accepted there's pretty good because there's a lot of good photographers in there. So I had 2 pictures up. She saw one of my pictures at Rookery Bay, and then she saw me like the next day at the Art in the Park. So she's
Who's
like, "You
she?
do photo workshop?" I was just
Oh, the
just
lady
a gal
who-
who did a photo
okay.
workshop. So yeah, you got to get your name out there as many different places as possible. But Naples Art Association has been great. They've really
They
got a lot of avenues to show your work
A lot
off.
of
So
opportunities to show your work, but also they have classes on selling your work and all kinds of like copyright stuff and lawyers and all kinds of stuff that nobody wants to know about, but we need to know,
know.
about, you know. So,
absolutely.
all right, what else? What else are we going to talk about? So you're doing your Instagram, you're doing the Facebook. How much time do you think you spend on marketing as opposed to taking pictures?
Marketing, I don't do enough marketing, that's for sure. So I would say 10-to-1 shooting as opposed to
Wow.
marketing.
Mine is completely the opposite.
Opposite?
Yeah. That's awesome, though.
No, I need to though. I need to get more
I
into
know,
marketing.
but I'd rather be out there
realm.
taking pictures.
I know.
Especially, I struggle with the social media. To me, it's so boring to say, "Look at me. This is what I'm doing today." Today, Katie was here, my one of the people who works here, and we got a new background, and she was steaming the background. I thought, okay, I'll put that on Instagram. But mostly, it's
I know.
like
I
I
know.
just think, why would anybody care about this?
Yeah.
But people do. People really do, and I know that logically, but emotionally somehow I have some. Like, I don't want to bother taking my phone out and posting something about my life
I
every
know.
day.
I know.
So I schedule it, but I don't shoot enough to have enough really
Content.
good stuff that, because I'm not out there every morning and every evening like you are. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
So it's a catch-22, right? You got to shoot to get the content, but to market, so you got to kind of have a balance, right? You got to go get the content, and then you can market it. But if you're not shooting, it's harder to get
Yeah.
to market it. So
Yeah. I
But-
mean, I might have a shoot once a week where that I do something fun, what I consider fun things. And, at one shoot, I get maybe 2 or 3 pictures that I really like. I mean,
right.
sometimes I don't get any. Sometimes I get lucky and I'll have 10, but most of the time, maybe 2 or 3.
Just keep
From
yeah.
a few hours out there, just that I really think are good enough to put on Instagram or something like that. So do you get better business, do you think, out of Instagram than you do out of Facebook?
Yes.
And why do you think that is?
I might say it's 50-50. I had 2 people reach out. I don't go down Facebook too often, probably 2 or 3 times a week tops, but I had 2 people reach out today. Just one was, actually both were inquiring about print. So, so what I do to kind of streamline things is you can tell Instagram as soon as I post to send it over to Facebook. So I
Okay.
don't have to post to both. I just send it to
it at the
Instagram
same
and it just
time.
does it at the same time.
Okay.
So they're both working, but going back to the point, like YouTube, I think is if you wanted someone to do a workshop with you, you got to have a presence. You have
Well,
a
then your
personality.
personality
You got to
shows.
feel like they know you, right?
Yeah.
Because again, you could be the best photographer in the world, you could be the nicest person in the world, best instructor, but unless people kind of get a feel for you and know you, then. So I'm kind of like you. I don't know if people are going to want to see me as a person, but I got to throw that out there. That's another thing I'm going to have to psychologically get past is
Yeah.
throwing myself out there, letting people see what I'm like, and hopefully they, do
You
a
seem
workshop
like
or
you'd
two
be
with
very
me.
natural. You should have seen how bad I was on camera. Poor Joe was there. We were gonna, before we did anything with social media or YouTube or anything, I wanted to have the online classes. And I knew that 4 weeks to proficiency, I've been teaching that since 2009 here locally. So I wanted to put it online, which I did I think it's been online for about 5 years. But I was just gonna record it. And oh my gosh, I think we got 5 minutes of recording after 2 or 3 days. I mean, I was
Right.
so bad.
Right.
And I was so nervous in front of the camera, and I was terrible. I was tripping all over my words. And
I know. Well,
then public speaking, I was terrified of public speaking. And now that's practically what I do for a living. I mean, we're out there at all the different clubs and conventions. And
well, you're good at it.
Well, now.
Yeah.
But I was bad in the beginning, and that's something that I think people are so nervous. Heather approached somebody who I know quite well to be on the show, and she said she was too nervous. And this lady is an amazing photographer,
Right.
and she actually wrote a blog article for me once, and it was really good and helpful, and I know she would be a great guest, but she's too afraid, and it's like, sometimes you just got to do it,
Throw yourself out there, right?
Like you said, you don't know if you're comfortable with it, but you're just going to do it
Just gonna do it.
anyway. Now, are you budgeting time for that? What's your wife think about that? Do you ever see your wife?
Not so much. So it's funny because when I was I still do shoot a lot, but I think I counted, this was last year, and I think I shot 30 out of 30 days or something, like 30 out of 31 days, right, 1 month. You know what she said to me? I'll never forget this. She said, "What'd you do the other day?" And she went the complete opposite. Like, so she's super supportive. She's like,
What'd you do the other day?
yeah, she just knows I'm shooting, you know. Once in a while she goes, "Where you going?" I go, "Where do you think I'm going?" You know, it'd be like 6 a.m. and I'm going somewhere. Where you know. So she doesn't even ask anymore. So, but she's really encouraging. She doesn't, you know, we're very independent people. So like
You've
we
been
have
married a long time.
married a long time, and so we give each other space, and so, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, she's great.
Now tell me about turning now you have a computer store right now.
Correct.
And you are kind of transitioning it into, well, you're going to continue to do the computer work, but you're making a gallery
Yes.
within your own business.
So I'm in the industrial park in North Naples. So in fact, in my building, there's like 10 units, and there's 3 artists in there, 2 artists and a new interior designer. So we just had a little, and there's the building over, there's another artist. And so we got together, we pulled some money together, did a little advertising on Facebook, and so we had a little art tour.
Okay.
So I got a sale the first night, so I was happy about that.
That is exciting.
And so, yeah, so basically,
How much work do you have hanging up? Like how many pictures?
good question. 1, 2, probably 20 pieces.
And are they big or?
I got some 3 foot by 4 foot. Those are the largest, all the way down to small,
Okay.
kind of matted.
And do you remember what your investment was for that? Because I think that's another thing that people struggle with. They want to make money in photography, but they don't understand that it's a real business with real expenses.
Yes.
Because to put 20 pictures up there, you had to spend a few $1,000s, right?
Yes, I did.
Do
So
you remember how many? How many thousand?
Not offhand. I'd say probably 2,500.
Okay.
Pretty easily. So, yeah, that's an expense. And what I did with my store was, I'm like, the walls aren't making me money as a computer store, right? So I took all the shelving out, took everything really out, it's clean open space, whitewashed the walls. It was like a 2-tone with a chair rail kind of there. So anyway, I just made everything just all white, so it was at a gallery feel. I took some rail lighting, and it's a square space, so I just kind of did the 3 walls with rail lights, plugged them in, turned them on the walls, and voila. So that was probably $400 in lighting, I would say. But I just had a guy come in, and he was a computer client before, and he's like, "God, this looks great." He goes, he's like, I remember it being...
It's probably good for your computer business, too. What a nice
well,
atmosphere.
it gets a little confusing because people say,
"Oh,
is this still a computer store?" Yeah, so I have to clarify.
okay."
The sign outside still says, but you walk in, you don't see, not a lick of computers in there. So
That's funny.
yeah, it's still a computer store.
That
so
is funny. I didn't think of it that way. Yeah.
it's gonna be like an evolution. So I'm just letting it go and see what
But
happens.
that's such a great idea. You just said another great idea about collaborating with other artists. And they weren't photographers, none of them?
No, 2 painters. Actually, the other 3 are painters, and one's an interior designer.
And being near an interior designer is we had a guest on our show who's a friend of mine, Karen Schulman, a really good show, but she approached, she's a very high-end interior designer with a big team, but she made an art gallery in the front of her store, I guess I'm going to call it. That's probably not what they call them.
Storefront.
So she has an art gallery, but most of the customers are her own team of interior designers. They go, "Oh, let me try this picture," and they take it to the house they're working in.
Wow.
And so Karen's doing very well there. Very,
She's got
very
built-in
well.
customers, right?
Yep,
Her,
interior designers are a great
clients.
way to sell your work and to get attention.
Yes.
So collaborating is such a great idea. Now, how far are you away from all those other artists in that industrial area?
Just around the corner.
So that's
So
good
I'm on
too.
J&C, which goes...
What street are they on?
They're on Taylor, I believe.
And how far away is that? Just one street?
Yeah, so
maybe you can get there
my
little
street
leftovers.
dead ends into Taylor, you just take a left. Exactly, that's what they're trying to do. But that's why we decided, well, I didn't decide, I just joined in with these guys. They're like, we're going to make our own little opening.
Yeah.
So, because J&C is a little bit separate from them, so again.
But they have don't they have an art walk every month?
They do. I thought about joining that, and I chose not to this year, but it's a very
You
good
might be
chance I'm going to
too
do it
far
next
off
year.
of there.
Yeah, if I was more on Taylor Street, I think that would be definitely
Yeah.
something I would pursue.
Yeah. Gosh,
So,
good for you.
Yeah.
Holy cow, I know we were kind of all over the place, but I feel like we got a lot of good stuff. I think there was a lot of good information, and Heather is going to do a brilliant job of making it all organized on the show notes.
Seamless.
So make sure, audience, that you check out the show notes at understandphotography.com. Now, where can they find you? What's your website?
The website is Gary Roche, R-O-C-H-E, photography.com. I'm
Okay.
also on Facebook and Instagram. It's GaryRoche.photography on Instagram. But again, if you search for my name, I should come right up. So.
Okay. All right. And so what's the most exciting thing you got going on is the YouTube
So,
thing, I guess, coming up.
The most exciting thing, actually, I just got back from Costa Rica. Beforehand, I reached out to a resort down there that does photo workshops with photographers. So.
Okay.
I got a conference call with them on Thursday. So with the guy that I went to Costa Rica with, another fellow photographer. So we're trying to set up a photo workshop 2020, and we're going down after the conference call. Hopefully we can finalize things. We'll be down there in July. So we're going to actually follow a workshop that's being done in Costa Rica. And then after that, next year we're going to do a photo workshop in Costa Rica.
Oh my God, that's so cool.
So that's the most,
What
by
part of
far the
Costa
most
Rica?
exciting. Southwest Puerto Jimenez. It's
Okay.
called the Osa. Basically, it's the little peninsula that but it's a very exciting area. National Geographic called it the most naturally intense area on the planet.
Wow.
So that tells you a little bit, and that's where we just were. That's where we just came from. So I mean, monkeys, toucans, scarlet macaws.
They got the sloths.
Got the sloth. We didn't see a sloth, believe it or not.
Oh my gosh.
We had a guide, for a day or so, but he couldn't find one that day. But that's how
Wow.
it goes.
Yeah, I know.
We had whiplash or eyelash vipers. We had some crazy poisonous snakes there that are just gorgeous. So anyway, yeah. So that's the most exciting thing.
That
going
is
on.
exciting.
Yeah.
Wow. All right, GaryRochePhotography.com. And from on our show notes, we'll have that link. We will also have his link to his Instagram and Facebook as well, and some of his pictures, including that one with the flock of egrets, right?
Yes.
Awesome. So thank you for being on the
Thank
show.
you.
I appreciate
Nice
it.
to be here.
And thank you for watching, listening, however you're consuming the Understand Photography show. I'm Peggy Farron. We'll see you next Friday at 4 p.m.